declared. We're talking about 4 days at the minute, and when the pause was delayed by 1 day, Israel seized the opportunity to slaughter 100 more people last night. 100 more people. This pause is not permanent. Israel says it's going to resume what it calls the war afterwards. It's not a war, this is genocide. So Israel says it's going to resume this attack, this murderous attack, after 4 days. And the big thing that we're hearing on our televisions now, every day, every evening on the mainstream, is the hostages. Now, to be taken from your home by force, to be removed, is a terrible thing. And on our television, we see the people, we see their faces, we see their relatives, we hear their grief, and naturally, because we're human, we sympathise. But what we're not shown is another group of people on the West Bank who've been seized from their homes, taken away, imprisoned, whose families don't know where they are or whether they will come out alive. And these are the people in Israeli jails. 2,260 have been put in prison since October the 7th. 2,260. And they add to the hundreds already in Israeli jails. Technically, they're not hostages. Technically, they're in something called administrative detention, which is a very, very fancy word for being a hostage of the state. And if you don't know what administrative detention is, it's one of the most barbaric systems that Israel has invented. They lift people from their homes, they lift them from the streets, they throw them into prison without charge, without trial, without access to a lawyer, sometimes without ever seeing their family, and they keep them there for 6 months. When 6 months finishes, and they technically should be released, they say, okay, your 6 months is up, but we're extending it by another 6 months. And this can go on for years and years and years. These are hostages. We don't see their faces, we don't hear from their relatives, we don't get journalists and interviewers going, oh, poor you, over the Palestinian prisoners who are hostages of the state. We don't get that same sympathy, but in my book, the thousands in Israeli jails are as important as any other hostage, and their numbers weigh up and make it a much worse situation. So I think what we have to realise is that our media is manipulating us to sympathise with one side and not the other. And I have a theory about this. My theory is that it reveals a profound racism in this society. A racism that is a legacy of empire. Because the empire liked to create a situation where there was us, people like us, and them. And the others, the them, were the colonised people from Ireland to India to Africa. They are the other. So I think the attitude of our media reflects imperial racism, a terrible legacy. And one blatant illustration of it is from a so-called musician. He's called Bono, you might have heard of him. When there was an attack on a festival, he came out on stage to lament it and to say, these are people like us. They love music, they love life, they are people like us. Well, I say the Palestinians are people like us. And we love life, they love life, and they deserve to have basic life. It's a basic human right. So we stand with the Palestinians today, we stand with the Palestinians every day, and we don't listen to the lies that our media is pumping out, that Israel is pumping out, and that our media and politicians faithfully repeat. So thank you. I'm going to give this back now to my young friend here, who's a brilliant chanter.